I want to talk to you about quality. I want to talk to you about tools. I want to talk to you about how we can make the patient experience be better. I am but an egg. I don't have in me that. But I do have a desire to make the experience better, not only for my patients, but for my staff. How many of us here go back to IVF in the 80s, doing IVF treatment calendars by hand? Yeah, there's some gray hair here. What a horrible experience. My nurse used to take 15 minutes to write it out by hand, couldn't read a thing. Patients hated it because they made mistakes, but my nurse really hated it when she'd take 15 minutes to do the calendar and prescriptions by hand. And the patient said, "Oh, I meant to have it next week." That was brutal. So we moved on. Looks like I don't have to click here. We moved on to Excel spreadsheets, better communication, faster, more replicable, but we couldn't communicate between each other. Today, we have powerful EMR systems that are available to everybody. In a click of a button, we can create a treatment calendar, prescriptions. We can give the patient a far better experience, give them an app that they can see on their computer or their tablet, let them see their treatment calendar as we update it. We can give them the experience of a secure online chat without going through email, have it be part of our medical record. This is an incredible thing. Our patients converse with us daily, and instead of spending 15 minutes on the phone, we chat for 15 seconds, and they love it because they can touch us. Today, software programs allow us to, do it all apps on the phone. EMRs are powerful things. Everybody wants an EMR. The reasons are evident: quality, safety, satisfaction, productivity. Everybody wants an EMR. Here in Europe, there's good penetration to electronic medical records. Either through the state or through organizations banding together, there's good penetration. But in the United States, fewer than 50% of practices have an electronic medical record, and internationally, outside of Europe, the number is much less than that. And the question is why? Issues are continually, in my 15 years of working with electronic medical records, cost, complexity, and practice disruption. And then it comes down to one slide. Less is more, simple is beautiful, and I want to introduce you to the psychology of heroes and zeros. Let's begin with costs. A reason electronic medical records are not being implemented is they're very expensive. The traditional systems might cost $10,000 to $25,000 with maintenance fees. That's beyond the reach of many small practices in America, and it's certainly beyond the reach of practices in developing nations. A solution to this is a software as a service model. Change the paradigm. The traditional paradigm is to get a one-size-fits-all, big box, a shrink-wrapped electronic medical record program. You might pay $10,000, you might pay $20,000 for it, and its annual maintenance fee. And once you have it, you're stuck in it. The alternative of software as a service is to pay a small fee for each art cycle. You don't have to buy the program, but pay a small fee with each time that you do something. This is a game changer. A small art center, instead of spending $10,000 or $20,000 at once, just go ahead and pay the same thing they pay each month for their phone bill. $10 a cycle, maybe an annual IT expense of $1,500. And the point of this, no capital investment, and freedom to test and experiment. There's no reason not to try something because you don't have a large capital investment. With software as a service, less is more. The second issue is complexity. The TV remote is just the absolute paradigm of over-engineering. All you want to do is change the channel and up the volume, and how do you do this? The genius of Apple was to simplify things. Well, the legacy big box EMR systems have taken that over-engineering thing to an extreme. And maybe because we have to get everything in so everything's available, it's like the old Microsoft Word. There's way too many things, and you can't get to what you want. As a result, EMR users are often overwhelmed by too many features. And again, if you're overwhelmed, you're not going to install, you're not going to use. The solution is a modular EMR introduction. We want to break the system into its component parts. Because after all, as everybody knows, the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So this is a systems map of an EMR system, which is really a cyber creation of what we live in our minds. And so we have history and physical, our scan documents, our patient's information. One thing that's very important is being able to manage the IVF care process, create treatment calendars, coordinate, know that we have a schedule, communicate. The embryology notes, and then everything else we do in a practice is here. But there's a rule of 80-20. And the rule of 80 is that 80% of what we do is this small thing. 80% of the effort it takes to run a center is this relatively small area, but 80% of what the trouble it takes to implement is the stuff here. So what we do is to go to a modular system. Instead of introducing one size fits none comprehensive program, break the thing into modules and give people simple modules to introduce one at a time. The result from a psychological perspective, a slow but successful implementation. And I'm here to tell you, in this regard, simple is beautiful. The third issue is office disruption. Mr. Reagan was quoted as saying, the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm here from the government and I'm here to help. Well, the 12 most terrifying words in digital medical records are, I'm from EIVF training. We'll have you going in 2 or 3 weeks. Nobody can stand having their office go down and have poor productivity, people hating the system as they're trying to both learn and work at the same time. There's a solution to this. We need to go to the psychology of learning and management. And what Francisco had to say again and again and again, we keep going. It turns out that when you're trying to build something, you make people feel good about themselves. The best path to long-term success is immediate success. So as we design a new paradigm for electronic medical record systems, what we want to do is to ensure that users are immediately successful, even if it's only a little beginning, because as they do that, we get a momentum which runs. How to do this? Think about scripted implementation by the leading personalities in your practice. Here I want to talk about heroes and zeros. The heroes of an implementation of any change in our practice are going to be the high-functioning people, typically our physicians, our lead nursing staff, those sort of people who are bright, they're willing to change, and they have skin in the game. They know that if we implement and go from paper systems to digital systems, in the end it's going to improve. These are the people we need to have lead the transition. The problem are the zeros. Now, I want to be kind. Our clerical staff are not zeros. I just want to catch your attention. They are, in fact, the glue of our practice. They're the people who make things go. But I think about my 62-year-old Hispanic nurse who weighs 300 pounds and is the nicest person in the world, but she'd never touched a computer before she came to work for me, and any change is difficult. If you let these people get into your process, you're going to lose. So part of our success is the concept that heroes lead zeros. What I'd like to share with you very briefly is a program, 4 steps to convert from paper to a fully digital art practice in 2 months. The tool I'm going to show you is the Artisan Fertility EMR Suite, which This is what I want to get to, which is a complete, fully functioning electronic medical record. And in 2010, we presented this to people, and people said, I love this. It's a great interface. It's easy to work with, but I won't take it. Because if I can't learn to use it in 15 minutes, I won't. So what we do instead is to break the experience into apps. The first thing I want to do is to digitize the paper chart. The second thing is to automate the IVF treatment coordination process. Thirdly, to digitize the IVF laboratory. And fourth, to put all the other things in. Let's look at the map of the system in cyberspace as it relates to our world and see what we do. Step one, digitize the IVF chart. I only want to do two things, but I want to do them simply and quickly. I want to teach my clerical staff how to register a patient. I want to teach my physicians how, and nursing staff how to take an intake patient and to use office tools. So this is Artisan Office Chart, which the whole thing is a MySQL backend. This is a web-based, browser-based mini app for the office. Importantly, people don't have to buy anything. There's no investment in this, so people try it. And the people who try it are our heroes. We're going to ask our clinical staff to begin the implementation, do two things. Take a history and physical, do progress notes and lab summary. So we give our physicians a typical form. Every one of us knows how to fill this form out. Do it on your laptop as you talk to a patient. It generates a history and physical. Today we'll put that in our paper chart because we still have paper charts. Later it'll be scanned and it'll go away. At the same time, we'll give people other tools like progress notes, problem lists, a laboratory summary. And when we look at the zeros, the only thing that we're going to ask the clerical staff to do is to register patients. And again, we'll give them one form. Anybody can do this. They'll understand this. And in 3 days, we've implemented Artisan Office Chart. But more to the point, we've created success. We've created momentum. We've created a sense in the office that, yes, this will be a success. Step two is to automate IVF coordination. And our tool here is the Calendar Wizard. And we're going to ask our heroes to do a few things. We'll ask the physicians to take the information from their brain and put it into a library of templates. So everything we do in our practice, we have about 10 IVF templates and about 8 ovulation induction templates and a number of luteal phase templates. We'll put those in the system one time, and after that we're going to ask the clinical staff to create their IVF treatment calendars and prescriptions from templates. And the other thing we're going to do is to begin to teach our staff to make our patients successful by teaching them our online system. So with a click of a button, you can do a pull down to get to a protocol, make prescriptions, make treatment calendars, send an email to the patient that they can go online now, see their treatment calendar, tell them that they can chat with us as they need. We'll give them a couple other tools while we're at it. One of the most important things to do in an IVF practice is get control over your process, over your coordination. So each month in this first tool, we give people a summary of where people are in their progress, and each patient gets a progress tool, and people use to-dos and go back and forth and coordinate the process. Also give people an online schedule so we can see, everybody can see wherever they are when egg retrieval, embryo transfer, and these things. There are other parts to this, but this is important. We'll implement Artisan Calendar Wizard in 7 days. In 7 days, what we have done is to go from paper to putting in about 80% of the function of a medical center onto digital records, and nobody knows they've done it yet because it's all easy to do. The third step is to digitize the IVF lab. Our tool here, again, is another standalone app. This is the Laboratory Wizard. And the advantage of implementing an EMR with the lab staff is they're very flexible. They're used to technology. They're used to working with things. And if you give them something to go from writing with pen and paper to being able to use a pull-down menu and add in their embryology notes day by day, they just absolutely love it. We can implement Lab Wizard in 3 to 7 days. And our last step is to complete the digital transition. There's lots of little things, from learning how to use a calendar, correspondence, billing, accounting, procedure manuals. There's a lot of little things that if you plop this in front of somebody and say, learn this all today, they just shake their head and walk away, because it'd be very difficult to do. But having learned the way the system works, the pace of the work system, they can do this. And so now we've broken up the fully electronic medical record, and now we're going to reconstitute it, and if we wish, get rid of the online things and use a Citrix-presented EMR, database hooked to the MySQL, and you have a comprehensive system. Everything you need to do is there. And importantly, the slow transition allows the staff to be comfortable and to adopt and take this as their own. They'll almost adopt a completely digital office without knowing that they've done it. And so we would imagine that staff would, over the course of a week or so, learn the various aspects which are the back end of the thing, the productivity tools, and within 2 months' time, we have a complete digital electronic medical record. There are a lot of things here which might be important. One is, again, we need simplicity, and we need to reduce cost. This is important in any busy office, certainly in America, certainly small practitioners. Cost is an issue. If you have a large office, if you have 30 or 40 people working for you, practice disruption will keep you from doing this. For developing countries, we can, because there's just no infrastructure here, there's very little, there's nothing to purchase, we can offer this at half the cost, maybe $5 a cycle, and give people tools that work in their infrastructure. Everybody in the developing world has a smartphone, be able to communicate with patients with smartphone and tablets. It's a different paradigm, which I think we can spread quality and collaboration amongst our peers. Thank you very much for your time and attention.